Chair.
Apologies, Advocate, Honorable Gungubel,
Chair.
Honorable Luyenge.
I wanted to
Sir.
propose a round of applause for the presentation.
Honorable Shivambo, could you please hold your horses?
Thank you, Chair. I want to propose, if the committee could indulge, that the nature of this presentation is of such a nature that we need to force Eskom to give the chairman all the documents he requires. Because if you look at the frame of the presentation, with supportive documentation, it will make the work of the committee easier, if the committee so indulge. This is the proposal I wanted to make.
Honorable Luyenge.
Thanks, Chairperson. In fully concurring with the latter speaker, Honorable Gungubele, in relation to the supporting documents that the former chairperson is not accessible to, and in fact, he has to be in possession of such evidence, because all what he has said now and in the beginning, he has indicated that a frustration that he found himself in, even in preparation for this, has made him to rely on his natural knowledge. But now here, we are a platform that seeks to be honest, that seeks to be transparent, and we want to be factual in executing our duty. So it is appropriate that let us make Eskom to be accessible and dispose of all the information that the former chairperson requires. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mazon.
Chairperson, I concur completely. I think that these documents must be made available. But Chairperson, I do think that it's very important for this committee to know exactly who the person was that refused to give our witness the documents, so that we can personally as a committee write to said person or persons and request that they stop hampering this investigation and make the documents available to our witness immediately.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members of the committee, those are suggestions that are made, but I don't see any member rejecting or accepting, but I take it with your silence, you accept what the other committee members have just alluded to. So the way forward now, do we allow the evidence leader to go forward with questions, or we stop it here? Honorable Swart?
No, Chair, we need to continue here, and if necessary, the witness can supplement in writing, or we can recall the witness once he has looked at documentation. There might be another opportunity for that. We've already said before that we might recall witnesses, and can give the witness that opportunity to amplify his evidence if once he's considered documentation that he was not given access to. But it is a matter of great concern, and so I share the sentiments. This is not the first this is a former board chairperson that has been refused documentation. This is not the first time. We heard it yesterday as well of board members that had been refused documentation. And so I agree with the sentiments that we need to find out who it is, but I suggest that we continue, given the very important and almost explosive nature of the evidence that he has given before us and the implications right up to the presidency. Thank you, Chair.
Shivambo.
No, thanks, Chair. I want to propose that the Mr. Tsoti give us the documents that he thinks we need to gain access to, and then we subpoena those documents. You remember in the meeting which we had a briefing about the frame of this inquiry, there are certain documents which we subpoenaed there. So I think that as part of this process, let us add to the documents which have been hidden, and then we'll then be able to corroborate what has been said here. But I think in the immediate, let us proceed maybe asking the questions, and if we think that there are issues that we need to take further after the documents have been submitted, we'll then set time aside to deal with that. But I think in the immediate, let's ask some clarity questions with regards to this very useful submission that has been made, which explains why we are here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mare. I've got a list. I've got all your names on my list. I've got a list here. Honorable Mare.
Thank you, Chairperson. I second the proposal by Honorable Swart. And if needed, we actually have to take a very hard stance to any official employee within Eskom if they hamper the process of this committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tsedi.
Chair, I fully concur with what the honorable members have already indicated, that we proceed with the engagement on the basis of the testimony that he has presented. It's proper that we need to know exactly the documents that Mr. Tsoti would want to assist the committee with. But on top of that, it will be proper for us to also attach timeframes in terms of by when do we want these documents to be made available to the committee so that we are then able to present them to him. The documents, in my view, should be readily available. They don't necessarily need more than a week to present these documents to him so that we are then able to take the process forward.
Thank you, Honorable Mazon.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Chairperson, I have one grave concern, and that is if the witness gives evidence here today on memory of documents that he doesn't have in his possession, he may unintentionally perjure himself. And that's not fair. It's not fair to the witness to go simply on memory. There are, however, other instances where no documents are required. And I think that it would be perfectly acceptable when no documents are required for the witness to give us the evidence where no documents are required. But I would feel a lot more comfortable if the witness was given the opportunity to have the documents before him, because, I mean, unnecessarily so. He may recall something incorrectly, and that's simply unfair. So I think we need to, a chairperson, in my suggestion, I'd like to have a multi-party caucus with yourself as chairperson, where we discuss the way forward in terms of how we're going to take this today, because certainly a certain portion of the evidence is not documentarily substantiated, and we could hear the evidence on that, but certainly the evidence that requires documents, I think it would be unfair to put the witness in that position.
Time frame of this, you are saying after this. Okay. Honorable, I had Gungubele and Swart and then Luyenge. So Luyenge, okay.
No, Chairperson, that's the...
When I see a hand, Honorable Luyenge, I look at that hand. Maybe your hand was up when I was looking down, so I did not see your hand. My apologies, my humble apologies on that.
I also apologize for thinking that there was a down looking. Chairperson, that is exactly what I wanted to suggest immediately, even before Honorable Shivambu, to say, let us do exactly what Honorable Mazona is suggesting, that we have a brief multi-party caucus and deal with this matter. It will help us.
Honorable Swart.
Chair, I have one more suggestion, and that is we could ask Mr. Tsoti if he could list the documents which he needs as far as possible, and then Eskom would have to table those before the committee. We could give him an opportunity to do that as well, because he does indicate that he asked for documentation, and it need not be exclusive, but then we can assist with specific documentation which will then not delay the process inordinately. But I support a multi-party caucus at this stage, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's what Honorable Shivambo has also suggested, that Honorable Tsotsi list all the documents that are not in his position that he has asked for or what he wants in front of him. But for now, we will go to a multi-caucus party, multi-party caucus. But before that, I would want to ask Mr. Tsotsi. Mr. Tsotsi, the members have suggested that you list the documents that you wanted from Eskom and those that you did not receive. If there are any that you have received, you tell us that you have received it. But are you happy with the arrangement that the members have asked for?
Honorable Chair, thank you. I have before me all the documentation, the correspondence pertaining to the requests for this information. I have precisely what we had asked for. We even wrote to the committee expressing our frustration on this issue and indicating to the committee that we're not getting any response from Eskom. So the documentation is here, and all that we asked for is right here.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I think Mr. Tsotsi is saying, he is not saying he has the documentation that he has asked for from Eskom, but he has the documentation of letters that he wrote to Eskom. If I wrote to Eskom asking for the documents, I think we will take those documents and go to the multi-party with multi-party caucus with those documents in front of him. Can we do that now? Advocate.
No, thanks, Chair. As you break for your meeting, can I ask that you remind the witness that he is still under oath and that he not be allowed to speak to anybody? Thank you.
Let me remind you formally, Mr. Tsotsi, that you are not allowed to talk to anybody. You are still under oath. Therefore, you will sit and wait for us to come back. Thank you very much.